Michael Saylor just announced that he will sell Bitcoin to pay the stretch dividend. The credit issuer behind MicroStrategy's forever buying of a Bitcoin.
It turns out that sometimes we will sell a Bitcoin derivative because it's in the best interest of the company.
Is this the end of MicroStrategy after they just reported the worst quarterly earnings ever, losing billions of dollars, over $30 per share? Or is this the beginning of the ultimate digital credit issuer company? In this video, we're going to break down the recent changes for MicroStrategy and Stretch, explain what these two equities are and how they help out or potentially hurt Bitcoin. We're then going to go over some recent changes of philosophy from Michael Saylor and how this could potentially lead MicroStrategy into acquiring even more digital assets. Let's get into it. Everyone's heard of MicroStrategy, but they may not actually understand what it is. Started acquiring Bitcoin in 2020, and they, to be honest, have not been the best purchaser of Bitcoin. Their average cost is $75,537. They've got almost a million Bitcoin. Remember, there only will ever be 21 million BTC, with a lot of those lost. And the average price of BTC is 81,500. And so they're definitely not the best purchaser of Bitcoin. If you take a look right here, the average purchase price is this green line. And you can see his biggest purchases by size of the bubble are always above the average price of Bitcoin. That's something I've been critical for a long time. We're going to dive into that in a little bit. Coming over here, taking a look at how MicroStrategy is valued on the stock market. It's called MNAV. This is basically what is the overall company worth compared to their Bitcoin. And you can see right here, they're trading at 1.25, or essentially a 25% premium in Bitcoin. And that means that if somebody was to go put $100,000 into MicroStrategy, that they're paying a 25% premium versus if they just went and bought the underlying asset of BTC. But historically, this has been financed by adding more equity, meaning diluting existing shareholders. They would add another 2 billion in stock and sell that on the stock market and take that money and go buy Bitcoin. But eventually that ran out. Think about it. You are diluting shareholders and essentially getting interest-free money to go buy BTC. And that is where the invention of Stretch came from. And so let's dive into what exactly Stretch is. Short duration, high yield credit. And you can see the current dividend is 11.5%. And Stretch is supposed to be pegged to $100. You can see when they paid a dividend about 2 weeks ago, this went down as low as $98.95, but it is now back up to $100. But the question comes from, if you are not issuing or selling more equity on MicroStrategy and you are not selling Bitcoin either, then where does this 11.5% yield come from? And that's where Michael Saylor said yesterday that they would sell Bitcoin in order to pay the short duration high yield credit, or Stretch. And so when you're thinking of this from a business, this does not seem unusual. You buy an asset low and you sell an asset higher and you pay off whatever interest or whatever debt that you have. However, it's a completely different, tone of what Michael Saylor has in the past. He's always said, I will continue to buy the top of Bitcoin. You never sell your Bitcoin. He even said, sell a kidney to buy a Bitcoin. Now, that was obviously probably a joke, but you could see here that the entire mode has changed. I've been critical of MicroStrategy for a long time because they will buy over-the-counter BTC, as you can see right here. However, the price of Bitcoin at the time is actually much lower than this. At the time of this purchase, the price of Bitcoin was $69,000. They're paying a $6,000 premium over what Bitcoin was on the market at the time of announcement. So this joke right here was that he's buying them from these vending machines, right? Bitcoin's 100,000, they're selling it for 138,000. But so the overall business model has changed. of buying Bitcoin forever and just hodling it, trying to become a Bitcoin digital credit issuer. That's all changed with Stretch. But I do think there's a silver lining in this, and that MicroStrategy could become the ultimate digital credit company and not just do Bitcoin. They could potentially dive into things like Ethereum that actually have staking yield, similar to what Bitmine is doing. But what gives me a lot of interest is if they got into proof of work cryptocurrencies, such as Zcash, that's been extremely popular. Even something in the AI narrative, such as BitTensor Tau, and something that would very, very much interest me is Kaspa. If you take a look at this, this is currently about a billion market cap project. However, if MicroStrategy started acquiring it, even started mining it, started adding this to their MSTR portfolio, I think they would get multiples over what they have done with MicroStrategy at this point because it's really not that impressive. The average cost over 6 years of buying BTC is $76,000 almost, and the price of Bitcoin is 81.5, right? He could have bought all of his Bitcoin at the median price down here of the recent drop and been up billions more than if he would have taken all this risk when he was buying Bitcoin at 20, 30,000. Another thing that I think they should do is implement a rule, and this should really be their law already because it's their fiduciary responsibility to do right by MicroStrategy shareholders. And what they should do, in my opinion, is only purchase assets when it is under the NAV, especially whenever you've got this amount of assets, right? If you're just starting to build up the portfolio, you're at 0.5%, 1%, that's something different. But when you're already at over 3% of the Bitcoin supply, why are we top blasting up here? We have to have some type of analyst, someone up here that understands market structure and gets the best value for the MicroStrategy shareholder. So it's a huge change that we have with Michael Saylor saying that he will potentially sell Bitcoin to pay the Stretch dividend, but this was inevitable. The other thing that could be done is they could let Stretch fail instead of selling the Bitcoin, right? Whenever you look at all of these different avenues, right, you have STRF, long duration senior credit. You've got SDRK, structured Bitcoin. You've got SDRD, long duration high credit yield, STRC. And if you look at all the documentations, the legal documentations, this is the most riskiest, second most riskiest, third most riskiest, fourth most riskiest, and then MicroStrategy is still risky, but the least risky out of all these. So before MSTR fails, these are all going to fail right here. But it's been a huge change of Michael Saylor no longer saying hodl Bitcoin forever and saying, you know what? We are just like any other company. If you were to buy land low and sell land high, or buy gold low and sell gold high, that's what we are at MicroStrategy. We are going to use digital credit through Stretch to buy as much Bitcoin low as possible, which is a huge change from him buying the top forever, and then sell it at a premium, make the profit, and do it all over again. So let me know, as a Bitcoin holder or a MicroStrategy investor, what do you think about this new philosophy? Do you think it's going to be successful? And could he potentially bridge over into other digital assets, or will he stay the way of thinking that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency that deserves to have a spot in MicroStrategy's portfolio? Watch this video up above, and if you're not a part of the Finance Freeman family, what are we doing? Subscribe. I love you all.